Hello everybody, welcome to episode 2 of our Shop Talk NDM in-depth oil change. This is going to be an in-depth video on oil changes and servicing your car. So obviously checking fluids is going to be a very important thing. I like to open the oil cap and put it on the hood latch so that I can't accidentally forget it. So if I close the hood, it's going to come down on the oil cap and it's not going to close. Right now I'm just topping up the washer fluid. It's hard to tell, but that's what I'm doing. This is a 2014 Forester. Same car we did the brake servicing on. Oil filter's up top right next to the oil fill. I use a multi-purpose oil filter wrench to remove that and break it free before we drain the oil. Now we're just going to put the car up in the air. Make sure you follow the manufacturer lift points when you're lifting up the car in any way. I like to run my hands around the tire just to check for any imperfections or feather edging, funny wear patterns, or foreign objects in the tire. Shake the front end, make sure there's no loose components in the front end, like ball joints or outer tie rods, inner tie rods. Now I'm just checking the tread depth with a digital tread depth checker or gauge, and I get the measurements. It's like 7.5 mil in the front. And it's 7.2, 7.2 again, 6.5 there. So the better tread is on the front, and that's typically what you would like on most cars. Unless you have a rear-wheel drive car or a rear-wheel drive truck, maybe you'd want better tread on the back. Now we're just checking the manufacturer torque specs. It's usually on the door. For this car it's 30 psi in the front and 29 psi in the back for the tire pressure spec. You always want to check tire pressures on every oil change, and advise customers and clients to check their tire pressures every once in a while. You never know when you're going to get something in your tire. The drain plug on this car is 17 mil. Just break that free with a wrench. Make sure it's nice and loose. And you can go get your drain bucket. I don't know what the technical term is for this tool. It's basically a magnet with a handle, and it makes it so that I don't get oil all over myself when I take the drain plug out. It's kind of neat. Make sure you remove the old drain plug gasket and install a new one every single time. There's the new gasket. Make sure it goes on the right way because it only goes on one way. Now while the oil's draining, it's a good time to give a good visual inspection of everything. Make sure there's nothing leaking, nothing loose, nothing worn out. Check for play in the stabilizer links. Check your axles. Make sure there's no excessive end play in the differential. Now I'm checking the rear stabilizer links and the bushings. And then by that time you should be good to put your drain plug back in. I thread it in all the way by hand. Make sure that the threads aren't damaged or you're not cross-threading it. And then I always use a torque wrench to torque drain plugs. The spec is 30 foot-pounds for this car. And I have a digital torque wrench and it beeps and lights up when it's at the specified torque. Clean all the oil off, make sure it looks nice and clean, that way the customer doesn't take it somewhere else and they think there's an oil leak or something's not tight. Now you're just lowering the car. Install the new oil filter. I tighten it by hand. This car takes 0W20 synthetic oil, which I have on a pump, and the spec is about 4.7 to 4.9 liters. I usually put like 4.7 in, fire it up and check it. Make sure you install your oil cap before you fire it up. I usually only let it run for a couple seconds. Once the oil light goes out, you know that the oil pressure has gotten up and it's good to go. Right there, I just removed the old oil change sticker. We'll replace it with a new one in a second. Now we're just going to check the oil level. So that's the dipstick. There's two dots. The bottom dot is the low spot, and the top dot is the high, or the full. So we want it just below the full spot, just to allow for a little bit of thermal expansion and some oil on the top of the engine that hasn't fully ran down yet. So it looks like we're perfect. That's it. Oh, also, you're going to want to grease all your hinges and latches on the car. It's a good habit to do every oil change. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. subscribe, check out our other videos that we have on our channel, our brake servicing one, and the introduction to my car and my brother's car. Take it easy.